One night we were all sitting around in my mother's living room. We had just incorporated a new friend into the mix, Bethany. Now, one of the great pastimes that my friends and I enjoyed was telling horrifying stories to each other. We were the sort of people with a little bit of, pepper mixed into that salt. We liked things to be a little dark and scary. Notice that a lot of people with trauma have a tendency to find comfort in these things. Anyway, telling ghost stories was one of our favorite pastimes, and Bethany had a story to share, but she was afraid to share it. She didn't want to get us involved, she said. She was worried about the repercussions. Well, we cajoled, harassed, and otherwise bothered her incessantly until she started to tell us the story of a creature. She said she went out to a location. She wouldn't tell us where. She made that very clear. She went out to a location with a group of friends, and they saw a creature in the woods. This creature had empty eyes and a massive empty mouth. It had no skin, and it was as tall as the trees. She said they all saw it, and it saw them, and it stared down at them, and they all froze. And we were like, "What did you do? Did you try to talk to it?" She said, No, we weren't going to talk to it. We turned around and ran. And she said, but that didn't stop it. We had to know what that meant. So she said, well, what I mean is, it followed all of us from that place, which is why I don't want to tell you where it is. Can't remember, she said 5 or 7 of them. 4 months could see the creature simultaneously to each other, so the creature could be in more places than one at a time. It followed all of them in their dreams, and they would get calls from each other telling one to the other, hey, I can see it outside in the street. What is it there with you too? And they would see it outside their schoolhouse. They would see it outside of restaurants. It just followed them. She said the only thing we could surmise was that it ate our fear. It thrived on our fear. And it was happy that we had come that night to the woods to see it, to be afraid of it. And it caught a line on us, and it stuck around, and it would appear all over our lives for as long as it could taste our fear. And so she said, the reason I didn't want to tell you is because it knows you know. And we were all like, come on now. What do you mean it knows we know? She said it knows when you talk about it, and it knows when a new person is feeling fear for it or of it. And we all scoffed. We were all like, pish, posh, pshaw. But that night, we all had nightmares about it. And we became obsessed. We had to go out there to that place. We had to find out where she saw that creature. And we had to go, for some fucking reason, we had to go to face that creature. Don't know why. Recklessness of youth, I guess we could chalk it up to that, or just the absolute belief that I myself wanted to face the thing that was terrifying me. So one night, Agatha, me, one other friend, who was, even though she was having the nightmares, was positive this was all just easily explained by logic and the power of suggestion. Agatha and this guy had a Camaro, Ricky Razzmatazz. We all decide we're gonna go. So we finally get this person to tell us. Bethany told us where it was. It was the Bellows Woods off Highway 12. And we all piled in to the car. And we were psyching each other up. We were trying hard not to believe that there was dread in all our chests. Was for me at least. Agatha seemed fine. I was freaking out. Now, I don't know if you know very much about southern Michigan, northern Indiana, but it is a weird place out there in the country. Something's not right with the energy out there. No, it's just not right. There's something weird about it. So we're in one Indiana town, so we got to travel about an hour or so to get there. So we're driving. It's late at night, listening to music. I made us a mix. I was always really good at that. And we come up on the place, the sign for the Bellows Woods, just like Bethany said. And we turn into it. We get into some like a dirt road portion. And then pretty much right away we come up on a sign. One says something like Bellows Woods Road, and then there's a distinct pathway that leads down to what looks like another portion of road. And we had stopped. We were like, we don't know which way to go, because it was confusing, because the road we were already on was the road that leads past that sign. We would have to turn to go the direction of the Bellows Woods Road. So naturally we were thinking to take the path of least resistance, but I was like, no, turn right. So we turned down Bellows Woods Road. Little did we know that not everybody sees that sign, according to the legend. And if you do see it and you go down straight, you go straight past the sign, you don't come back out, or so the legend says. So we did the right thing. We turned right. Lucky us. We didn't know that was coming. And we start driving down a deep, path of eyes in the night. There's woods on either side of us. We are in a fishbowl. The trees travel all the way to the top. They canopy us. We cannot see our way out. There's leaves. It's the summer, so there's foliage that's covering every single thing, but there are eyes all through the darkness. And the trees seem like they were reaching out, like hands to grasp us, hands to hold us back, or to hold us still, but we keep trucking. We keep going. At this point, I am scared to death. I love to be scared. Actually, it's one of my favorite sensations, but there was something telling me we weren't getting out of the car. I wasn't going to let anybody get out of the car. So we're strolling, driving down this path, and one of the girls, who is logical and scoffing at all of us, telling us we're silly for being scared, even though, like I said, she was having the nightmares too. She's like, I'm going to get out right now. And I was like, you're not getting out of this car. You're not getting out of this car. I will fight you. You are not getting out of this car. I can't actually remember if she did get out or not. Either way, who cares? I knew we needed to get out of there. There was something telling me we needed to get out of there, but we just kept driving. So finally, I'm just like, you know what? I gotta pee. And I did have to pee. And it was at that time I realized that a lot of times I have to pee when I'm nervous, and when something is telling me I need to get out of a situation. All of a sudden I have to urinate now. And so I was like, okay, we gotta go. We've been on this path for a while now. We need to get out of here. Turn around, go back. We turned around, we went back. And when we went back, that little street sign, it was confusing because that little street sign where we had originally turned right, it wasn't there anymore. So we were a little worried we weren't doing the right thing because that street sign wasn't there. But nonetheless, we got our asses back home to Indiana, and the creature still followed us. We didn't see it there. We didn't see it at the Bellows Woods. It was an elemental demon of some kind, elemental spirit. And it was supposed to protect those woods. People going there. We weren't supposed to be there. And I believe it did feed on fear, because the way we stopped being afraid, stopped seeing it in our dreams and in our daily life, because when we went to the woods, we didn't see it there in the woods, but we saw it in our daily lives. was all around, be out by the streetlight by my house. I could call any one of my friends and they'd be saying the same thing. Yeah, it's here. I fall asleep, I dream about it. It's right here following me. One night, Ricky Razzmatazz and I are outside my garage smoking cigarettes, and it's like 5 a.m. I look at him and I'm like, I'm afraid to go to sleep. He's like, yeah, me too. We just sit there in silence for a while, take a couple drags of our smokes, and we just sit. We don't have an answer. We are still afraid, and it is feasting. And suddenly a thought comes to my mind. We're all exhausted to the point of being like clinically insane now. And in the silence, I look up at Ricky and I'm like, what if sometimes when it scares people, it loses a contact? And it's like, okay, wait, nobody move. I'm sorry, nobody move. They're black. You just have to look. Everybody look down and try to find my contact, please. I need to get better contact. And they're hard to find because it's nighttime and they are also black. And it was such a ridiculous thing to say. It just didn't, I had no idea where that came from. And he and I started laughing. It was like probably the first time we'd laughed in a while. And the laughter, I said, it's funny now. What if instead of being afraid of it, we would make jokes about it and make it funny instead? And Ricky was like, it's worth a try at least. I mean, nothing else has worked. Can't think of any other way to stop being afraid of it. So from then on, he started calling it the Yeti, making fun of it. And somehow we turned this creature that was disturbing us in a way we couldn't even express into a big old joke. Every time somebody brought up the Yeti, somebody would make a joke on top of it. And eventually, instead of being afraid of the Yeti became an inside joke among friends. We stopped having nightmares. We stopped being afraid, and it stopped eating us for supper. That was the first time I ever experienced transmutation. And we got to have a good summer after that. Love you. Bye.